Hello friends and welcome to another new video. Today I'm not really doing a monthly update post because we're closer to the end of the month already than the beginning. And I realized that I didn't record one for June and I didn't record one for May either. The reason for that is because there was a lot in my head at that time and I really couldn't put myself to start speaking in front of the camera. Like I'd already addressed most of like my experience in my blog post, but I didn't record it. But right now I just want to share because I feel as if throughout those months there's been like a lot of things happening and it would really help me to get like clarity by sharing it. So that's what I'm doing here. Around April, I found myself in a very strange place, um, a stranger place than I usually am. And I found myself being distracted, being distant, being feeling cold, colder than I've ever been. And like the word I used to describe it in my blog post for April was that I felt myself being calcified as if life had just solidified me into this shell. And like inside, like as a tiny whisper, there was like a screaming out and a crying out that, and you have to get yourself out of this. It is not helping you. And the reason why it was a very dangerous place to be was that I didn't find the motivation to like read the word of God or even pray. Even when I made myself pray, I just mumbled prayers because I don't know, was I afraid of feeling it? I wasn't really afraid of bringing myself to that place. And as I said in my post, I'm not going to try to psychoanalyze myself. Like, the human mind is so complex that we don't even understand it. But above all of it, the important thing I knew was getting it together and like getting back in the spiritual sense, getting back to a place where, regardless of how afraid you are, regardless of how anxious you are, you must have a relationship with God. You must feel alive. You must believe. You must have faith. And to get out of that, I had something like a vision because I was praying and I heard God. I heard God. Like I rarely hear God speak like that. God doesn't really speak to me audibly, but I heard it in my heart. And in the midst of where I was dragging my feet and knowing that I was in a shell and silently whispering, God help me, I heard God say that, are you ready to listen now? Are you ready to listen now? And that was so significant because, like, while I was busy there talking about all the way that things weren't going right and so on and so forth, God had been speaking and my ears were too blocked to hear. And somehow I realized that that's how God speaks to all of us. Like you see so much happening in the world today, and you see people commit such great acts of evil, and you're like, do these people even hear God? Do they even fear God? Do they even think of the consequence of such actions? And the truth is that God is speaking to them as well. Right now, I'm digressing, and I don't know if I will be able to go back to what I was saying, but I just remember this, and I want to share this. A couple of weeks ago, something very tragic happened. I don't even want to remember it. I actually recorded a video. I was breaking down emotionally. I was like, too much and breaking down in videos and not even post that one. It's okay. Just cry in your room, wipe your tears and pray. And just talk to someone about it and try to work it out. Because at that time that thing happened, I made a decision that I was going to go on a faith challenge. Like, okay, um, looking at the past and looking at all I'd gone through in life, it was like disappointment after disappointment. It came to a point that I was like, okay, is this my story? Is this the one defining trait in Anne's life? Is that the thing that you look back and say, yes, that is what her life was made of, disappointments after disappointment? Knowing that my life was, not knowing that, feeling as if my life was disappointment after disappointment, I made this connection that um something always happened. First of all, I would have faith and believe in something, but along the lines I was having faith and believing, like a bit of doubt will get in there, like this fear and anxiety, would it work out? And that doubt usually stemmed from all the other times that things had gone wrong. And after going through those doubts, I find out that the thing that I was hoping for ends up in failure. And then the failure leads to despair. And I struggle to believe amid the despair and everything. And I have to walk my way back and buckle my way back to having faith again and believing again for another thing. And that had been like an endless cycle that had been going on in my life for the past 3 years. And so, like, when I moved and I changed the environment, like, I was so convicted in my heart that, okay, things are going to change. Like, I'm not going to continue in the same cycle in faith, in my faith life, and even in my physical life. Like, I'm going to believe more than anything now. And I'm going to do this challenge where no matter how things go wrong, no matter how things buckle and shake, I'm not going to lose faith. I'm not going to lose, I'm going to keep believing. And coincidentally, everything was working in faith. So back to that thing that happened in Nigeria, on those states, like a national, very tragic thing. Like, I stumbled and I saw the video and it just broke me, because I'm like, okay, we are praying to God, we are having faith, we are believing that this circumstance we are saying it will not last forever. We are praying for Nigeria, that Nigeria will become better, not even if it's not for the sake of we now, for the sake of the future generation. And this kind of thing is happening, and I see the imagery of children, and I felt so I was on the verge of like, there is no point, there is no point, there is no point. What is in this life? And as I said before, it was in the peak of that faith challenge. And somehow I spoke about it, and they were like, praying for your oppressors. That topic came out, praying for your oppressors. I was like, how can you pray for your oppressors even at such a time? Like, when that thing happened, I wanted to pray for those who were the victims and the families, but it never occurred to me to pray for the oppressors, because that was vengeance. Like, you want to think about vengeance, you want to think about justice, you want to think, like, the carnal mind and the human mind wants to think about the fact that for committing such a evil and vile act, those people should receive receive like 10, 20 times like the measure of what they dished out. But I remember that I was having a faith challenge. And in the faith challenge, it was not just believing, it's not just positive thinking, it is believing based on an authority. And the authority is Jesus Christ. And like, what did Jesus Christ stand for? And I actually had to think that Jesus is our salvation, He's our refuge, He's our hope, the hope of humanity. As Jesus died for me, didn't Jesus also die for those oppressors and those wicked people? And it was a very hard pill for me to swallow. But in the end, all that's just the first day of my faith challenge. All that happened still went back to me realizing who Jesus Christ was and why it's important to have faith in Him, because He commits even to those that are human minds. You think, okay, this one doesn't deserve it. That's the same God. That's the same God that paid that price for them. Equally, He paid that price for them. And He's also rooting for evil ones to come back to Him. Say eternity is groaning, waiting for the times that the children of God will be revealed. That's just an extension of His mercy and His grace, and those things motivate you to love and motivate you to have faith in Him. I have so much more to speak about. Like, the faith challenge is still going on, and every single day that passes, it feels as if Okay, because I say faith challenge, what are the things that make me anxious? What are the things that in my life make me doubt? What are the things that make me fear? And God has been addressing it. Like there's been so much in between, but what happened yesterday was that I was feeling so down. I don't want to let anything out, but I was working and I just remember every single time I hoped, every single time I hoped, every single time I submitted manuscripts and applied for competition and applied for jobs and went for interviews and tried and walked into offices and all the no's and no's and no's and no's, and it came down on me like a wave. Like, okay, what we are going through this faith challenge, and what is going to make this story any different? And the challenge was in pushing through it. And I was praying and I was praying. I said, oh God, I just want to leave that negativity behind, those doubts behind, those fears behind. Oh God, please help me. And I was crying and I was crying and I was praying, oh God, help me leave it behind without even really thinking about it. And when I opened the Bible and I prayed for the Holy Spirit to speak to me, I opened to the chapter that said that we should strive for what is forward. We should strive for what is ahead of us, and we should push everything behind us. Like all the pain and all the sinfulness of the past and all the mistakes of the past, like it's gone and it's gone for good. And when you know that, like your entire future is in God's hands, and especially, most especially those things that you are so afraid for, those things that you're like, okay, how are these things, how is it ever going to work out? That one especially is in God's hand more than anything. Like the greatest thing is to show the love I have for him, show how much I trust him and trust his character, and how much I believe that he is good. Like every day I sing and I worship God and I say, oh, you are awesome, you are wonderful. But once it's time for me to trust him with those aspects of my life, to show and to manifest his wonder and his goodness, I'm holding it back because I feel as if he has hurt me. Because when the fact is that he has not hurt me. And as I said before, the fact that I'm alive today is by his orchestration. The fact that all those disappointments came is in his orchestration, and he is watching out. If this time is I'm going to change the route I have laid out for her. This time, will she wait, enjoy? This time, is she going to rest? This time, is she going to trust me? This time, despite the pain, will she resist the urge to give up? Because I'm waiting for her on the other side. I don't know if anything I said made sense. But it feels nice to get it off my chest and to like speak it verbally and process all that's going through my life. It's just so fulfilling to realize that God is with us and He's working. He's working. And I really hope that this can be like an encouragement. Most of all, I wish that these videos I do and these things that I share can be an encouragement to somebody in future. That as I'm growing, like I can look back and see God's faithfulness, and then someone else can look at, oh, this this woman of God, is this what she started from? Did she have this doubt that I had? This is my testimony, the longest testimony in the making. I have nothing more to say. I've rambled a lot. Thank you for watching. Bye.